Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
All right, guys, we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter Show, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorta, and I'm here with my co-host, Joe Habib, and we got a great show for you today. And if you want to call and ask questions, 323-870-3857. Let's go ahead and get started. ESPN Plus. Efe Ajagba versus Stephen Shaw. Yeah, okay, about this fight, man. I tell you what, Ajagba wins a unanimous decision over Shaw, 96-94, all three cards. This was not a very crowd-pleasing fight, and this was disappointing, too, because we got two big heavyweights, two undefeated heavyweights. You figure, hey, they're going to throw caution to the wind. They're going to go at each other. Yeah, not so much. Both guys had a real chance to show off in front of a national audience here. They both deserve to lose, to be honest with you. 189 total punches between them. 189. Only 51 of those shots for both of these guys were power shots. 51 power shots over the course of 10 rounds. 51 power shots combined by both guys. That is awful. That is two guys who don't want to fight. That is two guys that, you know, we got them here. You're on national TV. This is your chance.
I've seen more punches thrown at the local flea market. Two old ladies fighting over that last piece of clothing, that last sweater on the shelf. I've seen more punches thrown in an altercation like that.
Oh, stop it.
I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest.
Oh, my God. Show some decorum. What's the matter with you? Stephen Shaw was unbeaten. All right? Stephen Shaw was unbeaten. He had a real shot here. He was 18. I think, what was he, 18-0 or something like that? Somewhere around the biggest stage of his career, and he just completely blew it. Completely gave the fight away. Beeb, he's going to look at that tape today, and he's going to be sick to his stomach.
I don't know if he's going to be able to look at that tape. They may just take that tape and friggin' throw it in the garbage disposal.
ESPN already got rid of it. Don't worry.
Yeah, they probably
they're not, you know.
They ain't going to put that one in the archives. I'll tell you that one.
Yeah, good luck finding that one now, you know.
No.
Notorious says he lost to Frank Sanchez. I know, but Shaw was unbeaten. But yeah, man, I don't understand this, man. You got two guys, especially Ajagba, coming off that loss, you know. And this is, I mean, I know he's fought since then, but he's got a loss on there. He could have looked a lot better. He didn't look good in that Frank Sanchez fight. So you figure now he's got to go back to doing what he does best, knocking guys senseless, you know. That's what he was doing early in his career. I think that the thing is, they're just too, he's not that advanced. He's just not that advanced, man. They asked Andre Ward and Tim Bradley, you know, is he ready for prime time? They were like, is he ready for the better heavyweights in the division, the upper echelon? They both said nope. They said he's got to do much better. He's got to pick up much better. That pace that they both set last night was atrocious. I mean, give me a break here. 151 shots, 51 of those shots, what was it, 189 total shots, 51 of those shots were power shots. They were jabbing, what did Ajagba threw and landed maybe 91 jabs? You know, it's a heavyweight fight. Nobody's tuning into what? Listen, you guys aren't the biggest names out there to begin with. I got to be honest with you. You're lucky you're headlining this. Ajagba's carried a couple cards. I get it. You're lucky to headline here. And if you're Stephen Shaw, my God.
Opportunity of a lifetime. Right?
Opportunity just lost, man. Completely lost. And I was pulling for him before the fight, man. I said, I hope Shaw gets it. He's up and coming. This is the fight he's wanted. This is the fight he's asked for. He's badgered his promoters, everything like that. I want the big fish. They give him the big fish and he can't catch it. What are you going to do? It's terrible.
Horrible, man.
Terrible, man. So where does Efe Ajagba go after this, great win here. I mean, you put him at, listen, I don't believe personally that he's got much there. That where he is now, the talent, the level that he is right now, he ain't going much further.
He may end up being an opponent for Jared Anderson, and I don't think he'll do very well in that fight.
No, he's going to be cannon fodder for Jared Anderson.
Yeah, I didn't want to use that word, but that's
you don't want to use that word. It's too strong of a word.
Yeah. I'm trying to turn over a new leaf to 2023. I'm trying to be a little bit less. Unless your name's Robert Herrick, I'm trying to be a little easy on people. Robert, open contract on him, man.
Open contract on Robert, huh?
He's always in season, man. You know how they have hunting season?
Right.
You can't hunt certain animals during certain seasons. Robbie's hunting season's open. Payment 365 days a year, bro.
Robert's like a coyote. Coyotes are always in season. You can always shoot a coyote with no problem.
The guy just sticks in my craw.
Yeah, so that was the fights this weekend. Apparently there was a chick fight also, but I didn't watch it, so who cares? So let's go on to what's happening next week. Got the schedule here. January 20th. I'm guessing this is a Friday. This is probably a Friday. It looks like a Friday card here.
Friday.
Yeah, Paul from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania on Showtime. Paul Kroll versus the dreaded TBA 8 rounds junior middleweights. Sean Hemphill versus David Stevens 8 rounds super middleweights. This is a showbox card, right? This has got to be a showbox card because their names like nobody's heard of. Otto Wallin is on that undercard against the TBA. It doesn't even look like they got. I don't know. Maybe I'm the one running behind, but there's a lot of TBAs on the card. I don't know. I probably won't watch it. I'll be honest with you.
You know what TBA stands for? In my book, sometimes to be avoided.
To be avoided. That's right. That's right. Let's see here. Now you said this was on DAZN. This has been added to DAZN, correct? Because I didn't see there's not a thing on there.
Yeah.
All right. From Manchester, England on Saturday, Chris Eubank versus Liam Smith, 12 rounds middleweights.
It's gonna be a good fight.
Richard Riakakpour, I don't know. Listen, Richard. All right, he's fighting Krzysztof Glowatsky. Yeah, he's still around.
That's a good one.
Joseph Parker versus Jack Massey. That's should be a squash match for Parker. 10 rounds heavyweights. Speaking of heavyweights, Miami, Florida. This is not televised. You can probably catch it on the internet. Jonathan Guidry versus Bermain Stavern.
Oh God!
How about that?
Wow!
How about Bermain Stavern is still fighting?
I can't believe that.
Why would he say? Is that like a Don King? I mean, I wonder if he's still promoted by like Don King.
Don King still promotes him, yeah.
I mean, who else is going to promote him? I mean, let's be real. I mean, nobody's picking that guy up.
No one's picking that guy up. Not anymore.
Yeah. All right, so let's see here. And the week after that, January 28th, Arthur Betterby versus Anthony Yard. 12 rounds for Betterby's WBC, WBO, and IBF light heavyweight titles. How do you see that fight going, Beeb? Just an early prediction here.
I hate saying this. I actually feel bad for Anthony Yard, man.
Anthony Yard was beaten by Kovalev, right?
Got knocked out by Kovalev. I generally feel I'm worried. I'm worried for Anthony Yard in that fight, man. I really am. I'm really worried for him. That's going to be a severe mismatch. Arthur Beterbiev is a dangerous individual, and I like Anthony Yard, man. I like him a lot.
I do too, but
I think he's an exciting fighter to watch. But I just think that he's there to be hit. I think he throws one punch at a time. He's got stamina issues. I question his punch resistance. Kovalev, I believe, knocked him out with a jab, right?
And that was after Kovalev was beaten by Canelo, wasn't it?
That was right before.
Oh, that was right before.
Right before the Canelo fight.
Okay.
No, it was right. It was a fight right before it. It was a fight right before it, and like 2 months later, he was in the ring with Canelo Kovalev, right? And he did hurt Kovalev, right? he did hurt Kovalev in the 9th round of that fight, and I think you picked Yard to win that fight.
I did pick Yard to win that fight.
I think I picked Kovalev.
He didn't buy out like Dubois did. I mean, he went out on a shield. I'm just saying that he's definitely a gamer.
But like I said, Yard really hurt Kovalev in that night. He hurt Kovalev in that 9th round, and he couldn't finish him. So, and then he lost again after that to who's the guy? I can't remember the guy he lost to after that. But then he rematched him and he beat him. It was another. It was kind of a domestic level European fight, right? And he lost a split decision. Then he came back and won. I haven't seen much improvement from Yard since the Kovalev fight to give me any evidence that he is going to beat Artur Beterbiev. No. I really don't. So,
Aaron Daly seems to think he's a live dog here.
There's a lot of you.
Listen,
shout out to the UK fans.
Unless he goes in old, you know what I mean? And Artur Beterbiev's at any point when he steps in that ring, he could show his age.
Lyndon Arthur.
I don't know that it's going to be there.
Yeah, he lost to Lyndon Arthur, who's with all due respect, is kind of a domestic level guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and these shout out to the UK fans, man. They really get behind their fighters.
Their fighters, don't they?
Behind their fighters, man.
They do. D-Style, thank you so much, brother. We appreciate it. And Professional Troll, Beeb, you're a racist. We saw that. We saw your take on things. Can't hide anymore, buddy.
Had a nice conversation with the NAACP this morning. We're on good terms, man.
You got to pay them now or what?
No, we're on good terms. I mean, we're on good terms. They heard my side of the story and they actually sided with me.
They sided with the Beeb.
I don't know why people get so upset with me. I'm just a guy with an opinion, man. I'm all I am is a guy with a local 22 jacket. I mean, I'm just trying to make a living, man.
Look at that orange and black. Look at the Beeb repping the Bengals, baby. Orange and black.
I'm just a guy with a local 22 jacket from Boston, Massachusetts area, trying to make a living, and I get jumped on. That's all I am.
Look at that. I am. Beeb repping the orange and black. I love it. I knew you'd come to the dark side, baby. I knew you'd be here. I knew it.
How ironic that the colors of the Bengals match our show and match the local 22.
Completely like
these are the colors.
Coincidence.
These are the colors of winners.
You gonna do winners, buddy?
Simple and plain.
Easy.
I'm thinking about painting the walls in this flat that I live in right now, orange and black, man.
Oh,
just
they
to represent
too.
Just to represent.
Good. Absolutely.
That's all I am, man. Just a guy with a local 22 jacket trying to make a living, and I get all these accusations thrown against me. My opinion is just so powerful in this world. Sometimes I feel like Andrew Tate. They're coming after me.
Well, I mean, he was sex trafficking girls. I'm not
running a webcam. I'm not running a webcam business. Why are you guys coming after me?
Webcam business. I like how he puts business on there.
I mean,
Ebony Bridges will be promoting a webcam business, wouldn't she?
Man, I got a couple of honey dips, but I mean, I ain't Andrew Tate. I'm not taping anything. Why are you guys coming after me? I'm not taping anything. I pay my taxes. I mean, what's wrong here? Pay my union dues every week.
Right. That's it. All right, Beeb, let's go to the news because, frankly, there's nothing else left. News and rumors. All right. So get this. According to De La Hoya, if they don't get a contract from Davis's handlers by Monday, he will begin looking for another opponent for Garcia's next fight. Quote, I have no contract. Deadline for me is Monday or I'm moving on. Before we get to the reality of Tank versus Garcia, let me address De La Hoya real quick because I know that, I can't stand De La Hoya, and I know that kind of comes out. Everything this guy says just grates on my nerves. I don't know why. He's just corny. You know what I mean? It's not my fault he likes to dress up as a chick and do whatever he does with kitchen utensils, all right? Beeb, why does he always do this? Why does he did this with Triple G? Every big fight, it's almost like he tries to sabotage. it's almost like they want to put him out there, like put his fighter out there and say, yeah, we're game. And he's like Lucy with the football with Charlie Brown. You know, why does he do this?
Because it's all part of the theatrics, right? They know. What did I tell you before? I told you what they're going to say is, oh, we tried to fight Tank, but he was the one that didn't want it. That's all it is. And the only way this fight happens is if they do a remake of that movie Undisputed with Vin Rhames and Wesley Snipes. That movie, if they do a remake of that movie, and with Tank and Ryan playing the characters, that's the only way this fight happens. That's the only way this fight happens.
I got to be honest with you. You know, he's got a point. And I don't know. I mean, what is his plan B here? What is Ryan's plan B here? I mean, really, where does he go? What is he, this is the biggest fight that could possibly be made right now in boxing. This is one of the biggest fights. Would you agree with that? I would agree with that.
From a monetary standpoint, it's a very big fight. I would 100% agree with that. Yes.
Right. I mean, Tank with the pay-per-view, it's right. Both him and Ryan Garcia pack people in like nobody in boxing. With the exception of Canelo, those two guys.
I agree 100%.
Right. All right. So will this fight happen? Garcia went to the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani and said, quote, talking about the fight between Garcia and Tank, this is definitely a concern. He says, I don't know his temperament. I think he might have anger problems, but you know what? In that situation, I'm not really going to speak on that because I don't know what's going on in his personal life with him and his girl. I don't know what they do. I don't think it's right to hit anybody, a female, but I don't want to speak on it too much because I don't know the full details. Not to mention, because I think that's going to go by the wayside. I think that, since the girl came out and recanted her story, that's going to go by the wayside. But he still got the hit and run on February, on February 12th or whatever it is, or sometime in February. They're planning this fight for what, April?
Yeah.
Planning this fight for April?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. What are your thoughts on this?
I stand by my statements. Unless they do a remake of that movie, Undisputed, this fight ain't happening. And I don't think they are.
Yeah. D-Style, thank you so much. Hit paid advertisement. You don't have to give me a paid advertisement, buddy. I'll advertising anytime. Roundtable back on Ringside Reporter live channel this week at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's Thursday, correct, Beeb?
Yes, every Thursday.
And I'm renewing my contract in Ngannou style. Did you hear about this now for the UFC? Francis Ngannou. What is he doing? Francis Ngannou is now out of the UFC. They've released him from his contract. He hasn't fought since January of last year, so it's been a full year since he fought. So Ngannou's out now. So John Jones and Cyril Gane in April, I believe, are going to fight for that belt. John Jones should beat Cyril Gane. Gane is really good, but John Jones should be good too. I'd be anxious to see. He might be rusty. I don't know. See. He's a big guy, though. He's looking – he put on a ton of weight. John Jones did. Ton of muscle, man. Looks like the Beeb almost.
Then Stipe's getting the winner. I mean, I'm nowhere near.
Stipe might not even fight again either, man. I think Stipe might be comfortable where he's at. He's another one that hasn't fought in a while.
Yeah, he said he wants the winner, though. I saw a statement he made that he called out the winner on Twitter.
He was supposed to fight John Jones.
Yeah.
He was supposed to fight John Jones and didn't take it. So, I don't know, man. And then have you seen this? Maestro says, why is Ngannou leaving the UFC? They try. I don't know. I'll be honest. They try to do a deal.
Over money.
They try to do a deal. Dana said that he offered him a contract that would have made him the highest paid heavyweight in UFC history. More than Brock Lesnar, more than Randy Couture, more than anybody in history. And he turned it down.
Yeah.
Where are you going? You know what I mean? What are you going to go to Bellator now?
PFL?
I mean, really?
I don't know. Apparently that they feel that he can get more money elsewhere.
Though? You know what I mean? Like really?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest. I like the move. I like the move of him walking away because I don't think these guys, from a percentage standpoint, get paid what they should be getting paid. I know that may not be a popular opinion. I would love to see the UFC unionized. I really would. I'd love
you know
to see
what
them
though?
unionized.
Yeah, but you know what, they do get paid what they really should get paid. We're in the realm where the guys are way overpaid, and I do believe this. I do believe they're overpaid. I believe
when you
it.
got
Listen,
like Dana
we
White,
can't put two fights together. I can't get Spence and Crawford together. Why?
Yeah.
Money. I can't get Tank and Ryan together. Why? Money. Those fights will never happen.
Well, I've said this before. Two things can be true at the same time. Like you can argue, and again, I'm all for people negotiating for whatever they can get. I understand your viewpoint as well. But you can go from one extreme to the other extreme with no middle ground. Like John Jones, heavyweight champion, getting a guarantee of $500,000. I mean, and then when you hear about the revenue splits, like UFC keeps like 80% of the money and only gives 20% to the fighters. I think they can do better.
What's the difference? What's the difference between that? Okay. And then you get a card. Okay. Like you get a card in boxing. Take that Tank Davis card that just happened. How much do you think the undercard got for that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the Tank Davis card is a bad example because they had a bunch of stars on it. But you take like a regular card, take one of those DAZN cards where they don't have like the co-main is horrible, this is horrible. The main event gets all the money. The other ones get like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. They're not getting any real money out of there.
You can argue that the money is spread out possibly better in the UFC, but at the end of the day, 20% is 20%.
Yeah.
So you're right. I mean, okay, boxing is they get like 50-50, 60-40, but the main guys do get the majority of that 50%. I can't disagree with you on that point. So that's something that needs to be worked out as well. But what you're saying also is a problem because the main event guys are taking so much of the money that the lower level guys aren't getting paid what they should be getting paid as well. So yeah, I mean, I understand that, but in comparison to other sports, and when you break up the percentages, right? I just don't think. And Ariel Helwani's been saying this for the longest time, and I agree with them. I mean, I just don't think that they're. And then they're being told the sponsors they can get, and I just think the UFC has too much control over these fighters, in my opinion. I just can't understand for the life of me why these fighters have not been able to unionize.
I think they'll shut it down is what'll happen. It'll get shut down.
Yeah.
And I don't think unions are a bad thing, but like, again, any fight that I want to see, local 22, any fight that I want to see in the UFC comes to pass. Unless the guy doesn't want to fight and says, I'm not fighting, that's it. And we always get the big fight in the UFC.
Yeah.
Niners going all the way this year. I hope not. Maestro, thank you so much, brother. He says, salute to Beeb and the entire local 22 right from the UFT. District 9. Sorry, Eric. You don't like teachers and you're a UFC guy. I love teachers. I'm married to a teacher. You kidding me? I love teachers. It's crazy though? Like I'll hear like Lisa talking in class and I'll hear other teachers, as I'm, going through, I'll hear other teachers talking. And like the way she talks to the kids in class is like the way she talks to me when she gets home. She'll call me like, okay, friends, it's time. It's like, what in the world? Like,
I mean, she's a nurturing type person. You got to take your hat off to that, right?
I do.
I mean, Beeb's going to die alone. He doesn't have that.
Eric makes fun of Jason with Tank, but he's the same way with Dana. I am not.
No, he's not. He's absolutely not. Yeah, he's absolutely not. He's absolutely not like that.
No. I said that he was, was a bad move for him to, slap his wife. I, did say that. Just saying, that's not a good look. You know what else is not a good look? How ironic is it that he slaps his wife? He slaps his wife, right? And it's all over video and everything like that. How ironic is it that he's promoting a slap league right after that. That's like the worst. I don't know who his publicist is, but they should have told him, like, hey, maybe we need to put this thing on the back burner a little bit.
I think it is going to be on the back burner.
Does not look good, Well, they're starting that whole thing. It's like the Ultimate Fighter with slaps guys or whatever. Have you ever watched that slap show? Or whatever?
I'm not a big fan of that, bro.
I'm not either. I can't get into it. I don't know, like, what is the goal here? I mean, really, like, what is the goal? How do you win or lose? What if none of the guys go down? Is there a judge? Is there? I don't understand.
Well, I don't know, man. There's only so many times someone's going to be able to slap someone in the face. Eventually, someone's going down.
I guess, yeah. I mean, crazy.
So we'll see what happens.
Crazy. King KO says the Chiefs and the Bengals in the AFC Championship. Beeb,
think so?
That I think so.
That'd be good. Wow.
I think the Bengals are going to roll over Buffalo after they roll over the Ravens tonight, and then we'll be headed to the divisionals, beat Buffalo, and then we'll be on the Chiefs.
The Chiefs are always there, huh, man? They're a tough team, right?
Yeah, I tell you, Buffalo's really good too. They have they have all the teams in there now are good, but Buffalo is good. Chiefs are good. The Bengals are good. Any team can beat any of them, That Ravens game's not a gimme tonight either, man. So yeah, they're tough, man.
Robbie's texting me right now. You know what he's asking me?
What?
Where can I get one of those local 22 jackets? You have to be in the brotherhood, Robbie. Don't even try it.
Just buy it.
Don't even try it. You have to be in the brotherhood, Robbie. You're not getting one of these jackets.
It's okay, man. No.
You're not getting one of these jackets, Robbie.
No, it's like being in the Marines or something like that. You can't just wear a Marine Corps thing if you weren't in the Marines. It doesn't work. You
can't do that.
No.
All right.
What's the matter with you?
You're not going to be a recipient of stolen valor, Robbie. Okay. You haven't paid your dues. You haven't paid your dues like the Beeb has. Okay.
What's the matter with you?
It's not happening, Robbie.
Maron. All right. Let's talk about this, Beeb. Errol Spence is going to be taking on Keith Thurman in April, which we kind of already knew. But the fight will take place at 154. It was announced it'll be junior middleweight. And as far as that Crawford fight goes, you can kiss that one goodbye. That fight ain't happening. No way Spence is moving back down to 147. He'll stay at 154 after this fight, man. No way he's moving back down. He's going to beat Keith Thurman. He's going to relinquish the belts and campaign at 154. No way the Crawford fight happens at 147. And Crawford is going to go, and he's going to unify the welterweight. He's going to try to unify the welterweight division if he can get a fight with Boots Ennis, which that's a big if, because Boots Ennis will be like the number one contender for something, I'm sure. And yeah, man. So
do you want to hear the master plan?
What's the master plan? You had the master plan prior to this. Tell me what they're doing.
So Spence moves up to 154, right? And vacates the titles. Beats Thurman at 154. Thurman goes back down, fights for the vacant WBC title. Boots fights for the vacant IBF title. And then those two have a unification fight.
Boots and who?
Thurman. Because they're gonna be matched against, you know how the rankings are. They're gonna be matched against guys that they'll most likely beat, and then they'll end up unifying.
Yeah.
So Spence so currently Fondora has the WBC interim title, right?
Yeah.
So I think Jermell will move up to 160, right? And he'll end up fighting Carlos Adames, right? For the WBC title, because Jamal is going to move up to 168 and fight either the winner of Caleb Plant versus David Benavidez, or he's going to fight Demetrius Andre, right? So when he moves up, that WBC title will be vacant. Carlos Adames and Jermell will fight for that one, right? Errol Spence will fight Sebastian Fondora for that WBC vacant title, right? Because the Fondora is an interim title holder, and so is Adames. So they'll be right in line to fight for the real title, right?
Yeah.
So Spence will fight Fondora for the WBC title at junior middleweight. Jermell will fight Fondora for the WBC title, right? And then you got Thurman fighting for the WBC title at 147, and then you got Boots fighting for the IBF title, right? At at welterweight. So this is a power move by the PBC. They're going to have champions in all these divisions, right? And once again, they're going to gridlock these divisions, right? Because the guy, you get the sense that, with Spence, I think for the rest of his career, they're going to kind of pick and choose, with all due respect. I just think that's the move now, right?
It seems like it.
And then I think Jamel, when he moves up to 160, I think he'll fight anybody, right? But it's up to what Al Heyman wants to do. And then Jamal is going to move up to 168 because everyone's going to try to position themselves for that Canelo fight at some point, right? So that's what I think is going to happen. All these guys are going to move up, and they're going to be positioned to get these belts, and PBC is going to have a stronghold on from 147 to 168. PBC is going to be in the game, right?
It's horrible. It is absolutely, and we're not going to get any fight we want. I don't want to see Boots and Thurman. I don't want to see Spence and Adames. I don't want to see any of these fights, man.
Well, Spence and Fondora. Then you're going to have
that's a horrible fight too.
And then you're going to have Jamel versus Adames, right? And then the only good thing that could happen is if Jamal does fight the winner of Plant versus Benavidez, that's a good fight, right? If Jamal fights Demetrius Andrade, that's an intriguing fight.
That's an interesting fight.
Yeah. Spence versus I don't hate the Spence versus Fondora fight, but once again, because that Crawford fight was out there, this is not a good consolation prize for that fight. You know what I'm saying? It's not a good consolation prize for this fight. So, when Jamel comes back after that injury, he may not fight. He may not fight Tim Tszyu. Right? So
it's just mind blowing. It really is how we can't, again, these fights that we want, these fights that we, never happening. Like this never used to happen. We used to get it late. But like seriously, it's the Floyd Mayweather era. It really is that they wait until they get an advantage or until they never fight at the same time or when they're both at their peak. Remember Sugar Ray Leonard and Hearns? They fought at their peak. I mean, that was the fight right there.
Now
that ain't happening anymore, man.
People have criticized my opinion and my analysis in regards to PBC, and I understand where they're coming from because the counter argument is all these promoters do it. That's fine. But I
don't care. It doesn't make it right.
But here's the problem. Because PBC has so many fighters under contract, they do it at such a higher level where it becomes worse for the sport. And to me, no one does it to the level of PBC when it comes to cock block and major fights.
No.
All you gotta do is look at the history. Right? People can talk all the shit they want about Bob Arum, but Bob Arum will do a deal with the devil if it makes money. He doesn't care. He's done deals with people he does not like. He's done deals with Hearn before. He's done deals, and even Hearn said the same. Me and Bob don't get along, but when there's a deal to be done, he's willing to make the deal. Right? So
Haplotype says that De La Hoya Trinidad happened at the right time. Yeah, that was also pre-Mayweather era.
Yeah, that was 1994. Haplotype.
Right. Pre-Mayweather era. You got to listen to Haplotype.
What is this? What is this? Back to the Future? We're going to jump on a DeLorean and go back to 1994 and get the big fight that we want.
That was the big fight. That's the big fight you came up with. Honestly, that's the biggest fight you came up with since 1994. That was the fight, right?
I mean, that's not a good.
That's not great. That's not a good look.
I mean,
come on, you're better than that. That was Arum and Don King. Yeah, you're right. Wasn't Heyman and somebody. I'll tell you that. All right, let's bring Robert on here. He can talk some sense into the Beeb.
Jesus Christ,
Robert, you're live.
Hello, guys. How are you?
I am not well, Robert. How are you?
You're not getting one of these jackets. Stop. Just stop texting me, Robert. Stop texting me. I'm not mailing you one of these jackets. Please.
First of all,
you're not part of the brotherhood.
I did not text you today. You're making that.
I got it right here, man. I got it right here. I don't want to dox you. I don't want to dox your phone number, so I can't put it on the camera. I got it right here.
Anyway,
don't make me do it.
Okay. I dare you, because I haven't texted you today. I can guarantee you that. Okay, first of all, Eric, don't worry about the Bengals. They're going to win tonight.
Yeah, you're darn
No
right
problem.
they are.
Will you stop kissing his ass, Robert?
You know.
Please stop kissing
No.
his ass. The other day you were telling me the Bengals suck, so don't kiss his
Oh.
ass, please.
No, I hey, again, you're making crap up, Joe, and I don't like that. Come on.
Do you want me to stop
You're
bringing up
making
the
crap
phone
up.
recorder? Do you want me to start hitting the phone recorder button when I'm on conversations with you? From now
Phone
on?
recorder button.
I'll do it.
Yeah, sure. Go.
I
Sure,
have a
go
security
ahead.
clearance.
Go
I was
ahead.
in the military before. I can do these things.
Oh, well, go right ahead, because I know my conversations are not classified, and I won't get compromised by somebody having papers in their home. Okay, come on, get out of here with that. First of all, Al Heyman is bad for boxing, man. Joe is absolutely right with his synopsis. That's exactly what's going to happen between 147 and 168. Al is going to control all of these divisions, and anybody else that's not affiliated with PBC are not going to get title shots. And it's going to be very difficult for other promoters to put fights together, because they're going to have to deal with these people at PBC. Al Heyman is becoming really bad for boxing. Let's just call it like we see it. And as far as De La Hoya and Garcia are concerned, Ryan, I don't know how many more fights he's got left on his contract, but if Ryan has any brains, he will leave Golden Boy Promotions as soon as he has the opportunity, because he's not going to get the proper fights that he needs to get either.
I guarantee he's leaving Golden Boy when his contract's up.
Yeah. Boxing is becoming a terrible business. You have to be affiliated with certain promoters to get certain fights, because people don't want to work together anymore. And Reeves' plan, unfortunately, that's exactly how it's going to break out, and it's going to be disgusting for us, the fans, and it's not going to be good, man. And the only way we can send these people any kind of message is when they put some of these ridiculous fights on pay-per-view, is not to buy them, because that's the only way they're going to learn. Hey, people aren't going to put up with this.
Beeb's going to buy him anyway, Robert. You know how he is. He's always buying lousy pay-per-views.
Well, Beeb's going to have to go to rehab and make sure that he does not do some of these things, because
it's better than spending all my money on OnlyFans memberships like Mrs. Herrick has been complaining to me that you've been doing lately.
Oh, my God.
Come on.
Here he goes with that OnlyFans crap again.
Beeb.
Jesus Christ.
That's terrible.
I mean,
it depends on what you get, whether it's expensive or not. It just depends.
You are simping for these webcam girls, man. I mean, and you're telling me I need an intervention.
Wow.
I mean, now Eric is a married man. He can criticize me anytime he wants. He does the right thing. You're not doing the right thing. You are not living a righteous life. You have like 20 memberships to these OnlyFans girls, and you have subscriptions to these webcam sites. Mrs. Herrick has
how much, hey, for real, hold on, Robert. How much do you pay a month in that stuff?
How much you spend in a month on?
Yeah, how much you spend a month on like browsers and stuff?
Come clean, Robbie. Just come clean.
I don't spend anything on that kind of crap.
Somebody gets you get it from somebody else's card or something. I mean, how do you do it?
That is an outright lie.
Come on, you guys. I don't know what you're coming up with, but I don't do any of this stuff. Okay?
I agree with you.
Robbie.
Outlaw says that Ryan Garcia still has 3 years left on his contract. I don't know whether that's true or not. I got to go with it because I don't know. So I'll take your word for it.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, he's going to be stuck. Yeah.
Ryan,
good luck.
If that is legitimately the case, his career is basically stuck. That's the nicest
horrible.
thing I can say.
That's horrible.
You know, because Oscar De La Hoya is the promoter that will screw up a big fight before he ever put the big fight together. I mean, And then you got Al Heyman trying to dominate boxing like Dana White dominates the UFC.
Well, Dana White gives you the matches you're supposed to get. He gives you the big fights that you're supposed to get, son.
Yeah, and like you said, unless fighters don't want to fight. But, I mean, my God, Beeb, he really put it out on the table, and people better pay attention because they're going to look at this boxing schedule and they're going to say, well, when is so-and-so fighting so-and-so? Well, if Al Heyman doesn't like the fight, you won't get it.
Yeah,
Crazy.
That's it. And it's not even a question of him and liking the fight. It's a question of, you know, can we keep this in-house and for how long? You know, that's all they're doing.
And we still haven't heard.
Didn't Floyd Mayweather say we're going to keep all of Tank Davis's fights in-house? We're not going to deal with any of the promoters?
He did say
I'm sure
that
he said that. I'm sure he said
he
that before. Yeah.
Yeah.
He did say that before.
Yeah. So Al Heyman is basically taking a page out of Floyd Mayweather's book here. And since PBC has over 200 fighters that they deal with, they can pretty much control whatever their careers are going to do. And the fighters either have to agree to it or not fight, or wait until their contract's up and try to go somewhere else. And as far as that ridiculous heavyweight fight last night, that was terrible TV, man. That's a cure for if you have insomnia. Just watch that fight. That'll put you to sleep real fast.
I would agree,
That was
Robert.
awful.
I would agree. All right, Robert, we're going to get running here.
and,
Go ahead. Go ahead. Last point.
As far as the Ajagba is concerned, put him in with Daniel Dubois. Let them figure out who's better between the two of them. I think that's what we're going to see next. Somebody mentioned Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce would tear Ajagba apart. So put him in with Daniel Dubois.
Baby Anderson, man.
I think he's going to fight Big Baby.
Next,
yeah, they're going to do the in-house fight, Robbie, with Big Baby Anderson. In my opinion, anyways, that's what I think.
Oh yeah, well, Jarrett will have an easy victory if that's the case.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's from Ohio.
All right, see you later, guys.
All right,
all right. Lay off the OnlyFans.
Oh, stop it, Beeb. You just heard him. What's the matter with you? Dwayne this time says, I think our best hope is PBC gets dropped when Showtime is merged with Paramount Plus. Then maybe they'll be forced to do business with other networks. That's true. That's very true. Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice. Mello says Ajagba versus Zhang would be fun. I don't hate it. That's a good fight. Not a bad fight. But yeah, I'm just it's going to be, I think, like I said, man, like I said earlier, I think Ajagba's got that ceiling on him. I don't think he goes any further. So, I don't know. Some sad news this week. Jerry Coetzee, Beeb, you remember this guy?
I do.
Former heavyweight champion, WBA heavyweight champion, Jerry Coetzee, passed away this week at the age of 67, man. He was, I'll tell you, man, he was a great fighter back in his day, man.
He's a good
really
fighter,
good. Yeah. Really good fighter. All right. So Eddie Hearn this week commented on Tank Davis. And I think some people said it was a racist comment. I think he was trying to backhand compliment him, and he knew it was a backhanded compliment. And it was a stupid thing to say. It really was. It was like just a very degrading thing to say, quite honestly. Quote, the dangerous thing about Gervonta Davis is he's not a deep thinker. He's not articulate. I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. He's a bad mother blank, like Mike Tyson. That makes him dangerous because he's fearless. You can't get into his head. Beep. That's an insult. No, I mean, when you call somebody, when you say somebody can't communicate, you're not articulate. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of an insult.
Well, I was on a date with a woman once that said that to me, and guess what? She didn't get a second date. I took it personal. So yeah, that's an insult, man. You can't say something like that to somebody. All right? You just can't talk to someone like that. And of course it's an insult. And what is being dangerous? What is saying those things about someone have to do with being dangerous? So that makes you dangerous if you're not articulate.
I guess he's saying because you don't understand. So basically what he's saying is you can't get into his head because he doesn't understand what you're saying anyway. Is that what he's trying to
listen? I can't. Again,
because he's not going to be able to understand what you're saying. I mean, what?
It was such a random thing to say.
He's not a deep thinker. What are you talking about?
You know, Eddie Hearn to me comes off as an elitist sometimes.
Yeah.
He's very condescending, and he says things just because he wants to get a reaction. He knows that he's saying things that are going to offend people. He just wants to grab a headline. He's looking for attention. And once again, he succeeded in doing that, right? He succeeded in doing that. So I think he did insult Tank. And it just, there was like, the only thing you can accomplish by doing this is just getting yourself attention and getting your name in the headlines again. That's all I can say. And basically, you know, he drew out the ire of Leonard Ellerbe, which is probably another thing he was trying to elicit a response from Leonard Ellerbe, and he got what he wanted. You know, so
yeah. So Gervonta Davis got back on social media and says, "Not a deep thinker and not articulate made me not sign that BS offer he sent." Good for him. I thought that was a really good comeback. Leonard Ellerbe chimed in as well at Eddie Hearn. He says, You did mean that in a disrespectful way with your privileged racist blank." Ellerbe tweeted, "Who TF do you think you are? Not saying he's a deep thinker and not articulate. That's the problem with MFs like you, is that you think you're more superior than others."
Yeah, it's very elitist comment.
Yeah, it was. And I mean, Hearn said he didn't mean it in a disrespectful way. You absolutely meant it in a disrespectful way.
Yeah.
You absolutely meant it in a disrespectful way. There's no other way to mean that. If I said Beeb's not very articulate, you know, I mean, if I said you're not very articulate, he's not really a deep thinker, he's not really articulate, that's why he's so good at what he does. That's not a compliment. That's not a compliment. Brian the Boxing Brain says Hearn crossed the line. Hearn absolutely crossed the line. You know, I don't understand why Ellerbe said it was racist, because it wasn't. I don't believe it was racially motivated. I don't believe it was a racist comment, but it was a very backhanded compliment, and it's something he shouldn't have said.
I don't think he should have said it.
I don't think he should have said it at all. I think it was a very mean. It was very mean, and Leonard was right.
Very insulting.
You know, it was very disrespectful. Yeah, it was absolutely disrespectful. And for you to say I didn't mean it to be disrespectful, you know you meant it to be disrespectful. What are you trying to gaslight me? I know it was meant to be disrespectful. Yeah. No, you meant it as a compliment?
Stupid.
Come on. Steven Espinoza came out and said, "Disgusting. Sometimes a veneer wears off and people say what they actually think. In this case, repeating despicable racist tropes of black fighters as unintelligent and unthinking. I know Gervonta and I know Mike, and they're deeper thinkers than the person who made this statement." Yeah. And I think Steven Espinoza, I think he hit it on the head. You know, I really do. Awful. Clarissa Tercios says, he said out loud, and I'm sorry if I butchered your name, I apologize. He said out loud how people see Tank.
I mean,
that's interesting. That's a very interesting point. That is a very interesting point. You know, I don't see Tank like that, but I can see people thinking like, you know what I mean? Like Mike Tyson, you've got this feeling of what Mike Tyson is if you haven't met him, you know, or if you haven't talked to him, or a Tank. You know, I get it, but it's still not acceptable. You know, it's still not an acceptable way to think about somebody. I don't know. That's my 2 cents, man. Beeb, Naoya Inoue has vacated the titles, and he is moving up in weight. He is moving up now to what is it, bantamweight? So what is he moving up to? Featherweight now, right?
122, junior featherweight. Actually.
Junior featherweight, excuse me.
Junior featherweight, super bantamweight, junior featherweight.
Now, Rai Salim, friend of the show, just came out and said he wants to fight Inoue. He said, "I'd love to hand him his first loss." Let's talk about this for a second. How does that fight shake out? That's a good fight.
I mean, any one of those fights on 122 will definitely be exciting. With all due respect to Alim, the fight to make is with Stephen Fulton because he's got 2 of those titles, right? So if Inoue wants to accomplish his goal at 122 and become undisputed up there, he's going to have to deal with fucking Stephen Fulton, who's already saying, why should I fight him? Blah, 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 blah. The same PBC bullshit is happening all over again, and he's not going to be able to get probably all the fights that he wants. So we'll see what happens. Unless he becomes a mandatory challenger to one of those titles that Stephen Fulton has, then 2 of those titles at 122 are going to be on lockdown. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see him, try to become undisputed at 122 as well. I don't believe he should go up to 126. I think that may be a step too far for him, but I think he'd definitely be a good fighter at 122
because he's been moving up. I mean, through his career, he's been moving up in weight. So I think there's going to be a cap on it somewhere.
Yeah.
So,
and you can make an argument that he was fighter of the year this year. I have no problem with Bivol getting it, but him and Bivol.
I think so.
You could have even given them co-fighter of the year. Both guys could have got it, right?
Yeah, I know you took Bivol, and I think I took Inoue for fighter of the year.
I took Bivol for fighter of the year, but I have no problem. And if anyone says that they think Inoue is fighter of the year, I have no problem with that.
Yeah. So everybody's been asking about a boxing game. This is, I think, Fight Night. What is it? Fight Night was the last boxing game by EA Sports. And that was back, years ago, right? That was years ago. And everybody's been clamoring for a boxing game. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news here, but if the boxing game was that popular, trust me, they would have made it by now. The fact that golf games are still being made and boxing games are not being made, just listen, nobody's buying them. If they were hits, people would be buying them left and right. They're just not. However, January 31st, the game Undisputed will be released on January 31st. It is a boxing game. I believe it has 50 fighters in it, including Canelo. Is this the same one that they were talking about a while ago that I think Vinny Paz is in it? There's been a whole bunch of
fighters
in it.
Guess who's not in it?
Who?
Errol Spence. And someone I think Ring IQ made a hilarious comment. He goes, Errol Spence is ducking Crawford so bad he won't even go
in the fight because Crawford's in the video.
Yeah, he won't even
can't even play him in the video game, son. How about that? Yeah. You can't even have that fight. He doesn't want to fight Crawford. Period, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's so funny. Shout out to Ring IQ.
Yeah. So he'll be. I guess that'll be 31st, and I think the game is supposed to be for like all the big platforms: PC, Xbox, all the other PlayStation. All those. So Aaron Daly said the Undisputed is looking real good. Lee Grove says Inoue will be successful at 122, maybe even 126, because he uses technique and skills to set up his big power. Should that power not be effective against the bigger men, he still has that technique. That's a good point. He's not just one of these guys who relies on power, and that's what I was waiting to see when he was coming up and he was knocking everybody out. I'm thinking, he's knocking older champions out. I get it, But when he was in that tournament, I think that was a real proving ground for him. Yeah. I think that was kind of his coming out party then.
That was a good tournament too.
That was a great tournament. And they're never going to do them again, man. I love those tournaments.
They said they're never going to do them again?
Yeah, nobody's going to do that again.
You don't think so?
No, I don't. There's too much stuff that can go wrong. Injuries and everything like that, all that other good stuff. 917, you're live.
Eric, Joe, thank you for having me on. It's Maestro. How's everybody doing on this Sunday?
Man?
Not much. So the first question I have is actually for Eric. When's Dana going to have one of his guys fight AJ McKee?
I'll tell you what, as soon as AJ McKee gets done with that contract in Bellator, my guess is he'll sign with the UFC. That's my guess. He just
re-signed with Bellator. So, and the reason he signed with Bellator, is because they do better fighter pay than they do with the UFC, where the UFC guys get paid about 18% of the total pot of profit. So I just wanted to throw that out there real quick, Eric.
I think though,
so go ahead.
In order for McKee, who I think is one of the best fighters in the world, in order for him to get his shine, to get the right, you know what I mean, to get the exposure he really wants, and to make the big money. So he could stay at Bellator and make whatever money he's making there. But I still think he's being short-sighted by not going to the UFC and making the bigger money there, because there will be bigger money for him, pending he's successful, which we think he will be. There's bigger money in the UFC for McKee than there is at Bellator overall. I really believe that.
I think Bellator signed a deal with Paramount Plus, and they're going to be on CBS too, I think. So
Oh, wow.
I think Bellator is starting to grow. So we'll see.
They are growing, and they had a huge card on New Year's Eve in Japan at the big dome there,
Tokyo Dome,
where the Rising guys went. Yeah, Tokyo Dome. That's the one where the Rising guys took on the Bellator guys, and it was champion versus champion. Dana would never allow anything like that. So
no, I remember that.
This is the main problem with the UFC versus boxing. This is what I'm saying. There's no unification fight. At least we have that in boxing.
Got a point. You got a point. You'll never see UFC versus Bellator.
I'm glad you brought up. Yeah, I'd love to see it, but I'm glad you brought up the video game, the Undisputed game, because, like you said, there hasn't been a game essentially since I was a kid that got anyone excited about boxing.
Yeah.
And what was interesting when I was listening up on the development of this game, the reason all of those years went by where there were no boxing games apparently was because it was difficult to sign deals with every fighter with a different promoter and a different manager that made bringing everyone into one game possible. What I heard about this game that they did interestingly is they offered financial incentive for the fighters to have users buy the characters, kind of download the characters. And every time you use the character or download a character, the fighter gets paid. So it's a very interesting funding model. And I think, I think that's why you see all of these fighters from all these different promoters and managers and platforms signing up for the game, because anytime a user downloads them to fight with them, they get paid money.
Wow. Interesting.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So I don't know if you've seen the graphics and whatnot, but they look pretty good.
They do look good.
And then lastly, I got to agree. I'm excited with you guys about Inoue's move to 122. Initially, I wasn't, but after thinking about it a little bit more, I don't think he's going to have to go chasing guys as much as he did in the lower weight classes. And he's actually a very good defensive fighter and counter puncher. So I think it's going to be actually good for him. I'm actually excited about it. I just hope they could make the Fulton Jr. fight. But if not, I'm good with Akhmadaliev if they can make that happen.
It'll be interesting to see what gets made over there. You know what I mean? I mean, with him coming to 122, there's a ton of fights. I mean, there's a ton of fights out there for him. I just hope he gets them. You know, I just hope he can get them.
Problem is, I think doesn't PBC have 3 of those belts at 122?
I think they might, yeah.
Because Stephen Fulton
got Stephen Fulton.
Doesn't Stephen Fulton have 2 titles at 122? And then Akhmadaliev has the other one?
He does. He's got Akhmadaliev has 2 and he has 2. They both have 2 titles each.
Oh, okay. Oh, is that what you said? Yeah. So that's my issue, is like they're gonna freeze Inoue out, right? The PBC ain't gonna want no part of Inoue.
I hope not. Yeah,
that's what I'm concerned about.
No, I mean the challenge is that he's with. Yeah, the challenge is that he's with Top Rank, ESPN. There aren't any guys at 122. So that's a valid point. I mean,
they're gonna
if
freeze him
Fulton
out.
Jr. moves up, though, it's going to be interesting to see who fights for the vacant titles. Yeah, it'll be interesting.
When was the last fight? Like the last big
guys,
fight?
I'm going to leave.
Maestro, hang on for a second. When was the last fight, aside from Fury Wilder, that the PBC actually mixed promotions like that?
I can't remember.
Fury Wilder. I mean,
aside from that, because I know Fury.
I honestly can't. Oh, I can. Well, do you count the Canelo fight? against Plant?
Yeah, I think you can count that. Yeah, you definitely.
No, you
count that
can't.
one.
You can't because it wasn't a co-promotion. It was Canelo.
It was only PBC, right? And Canelo signed. Didn't Canelo signed with him for one fight?
It was a one-fight deal with them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that you can't
so
even
yeah,
say
that wasn't even
Yeah.
Hey.
See. You can't really count that, right? I mean, and even before then, I mean, the AJ Ruiz fight was kind of a rarity, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting. This is a good point with Inoue moving up and possibly getting frozen out.
Yeah, AJ Ruiz. Yeah, AJ
lastly,
Ruiz.
Though, anybody who
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, AJ, but that was ages ago. Yeah, I was just gonna say anyone who thought that Joe or me was being too harsh on Tank Davis needs to have a look at what Tim Bradley said after the show was done. I think that's a worthwhile listen for anybody who
What did he say?
Heard it yet.
Tell us what he said.
And I'll just leave. Okay, it's a family show, but he called him a piece of shit.
Wow.
He says he's rooting for. He said he's rooting for Ryan Garcia against him. He said that his dad taught him that any man who puts his hands on a woman is a coward. He said that the toothbrush excuse isn't any kind of an excuse because the man has more than enough money to buy replacement toothbrushes or even a toothbrush company. I mean, the guy was going in. So and he started off talking about what I usually focus on, which is Tank Davis's poor track record of taking on good opponents at a relevant name in his weight class. So, you know, I said what I said. Joe said what he said. People want to unfairly attack Joe and to a lesser extent attack me for saying the exact same thing. They need to go listen to what a Hall of Famer in Tim Bradley had to say.
Yeah. That's
don't worry about it, Maestro. I spoke with the league. I spoke with the legal team this morning. We're all set.
Are you guys okay? Have you guys went to HR?
We're good, man. We're good. We're protected. We're inside.
Do I have to address anything in HR or anything with you guys?
Not at all. Not at all. The contract is still ironclad. No threat. No endorsements lost.
All right, so hit the like button. Hit the like button, everyone. Hit the subscribe button, and definitely check out the memberships and hit that too. Thank you guys for having me on.
Thanks,
thank you so much, Maestro. We appreciate it, man.
Thank you, Maestro.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, guys, that's it. It's a thin boxing week, man. It's a thin boxing week. Next week, we're going to have that preview for the Better Be fight and all the latest news and everything. So with that, that'll do it, man, for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Joe Habib on Twitter at JHabib1, our YouTube channel, ringsidereporterlive.com, and you can find me on Twitter at Ringside73. Guys, we will see you next week. Enjoy the playoffs. Bengals, son. Bengals.